Hey everyone, welcome to Smash and Grab Comics. This is Tyler. It's finally a Saturday night back in the old headquarters.
Back in black, baby.
Rainbow Comics Cards and Collectibles.
Down here at 3310 South Minnesota Avenue in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, and also at a different place in Lincoln, Nebraska.
What's the address down there, JP?
1501 Pine Lake Road, Suite 17. You can see Tim and Taylor doing a good job for us, as always.
We haven't brought it up in a while, but just talking about Rainbow, they have everything here, right?
God.
Comic books, cards, toys, posters,
It's
games.
impossible to have everything, but we have a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys remember the episode of The Office where
Collectible
Dwight...
glasses from McDonald's that went out of style 20 years ago, right?
No, they're back in style, man.
They're coming back.
Remember those cool-ass Batman glasses you could get? They were all like,
No.
what?
You don't remember those?
Like during the Christopher Nolan?
No,
Batman?
like Batman Forever.
Oh,
You get
yeah,
the Riddler cup.
That,
like,
yes, but I'm saying that's gone now.
yeah, but they're
Like,
awesome.
Nobody does that anymore.
No,
so.
they don't.
No.
They used to give away those freaking cool Lord of the Rings goblets at Burger King. Get light
That
up.
wasn't too
You
long
get
ago.
light
Those
up-
things were
You
precious.
get light up goblets. Those are awesome.
So, anyway, this is a comic book review show.
Is it?
Tonight, we're talking about a comic. Well, actually, let's introduce you to TR.
Yeah, what?
Exactly. JP.
What up?
He's here. Anyway, tonight, we're going to talk about X-Men, the animated series.
What episode is this? 9?
What's listed as episode 8.
Oh, okay.
For those who don't remember, we're not doing them in the order that they're listed in Disney Plus. We're doing script order because it makes more sense when you do it script order.
Yeah, which was weird. And even the people that were involved in the show on Twitter didn't know why they were out of order.
Right. They were aired out of order as well, though.
Oh,
They were originally aired out of order.
Oh, that is
that makes
weird.
sense. They probably just went with the date of release.
Yeah, they went with date of release.
Well, yeah, for Disney Plus, but why were they aired out of order?
That they don't seem to know why.
Okay.
Nobody knows.
Well, anyways, guys, it is Halloween tonight. For those listening at home, what are you guys for Halloween? I am a comic book nerd.
I'm me from a year ago.
Oh, good job.
I'm a serial killer because they look like everybody else.
They look normal. Anyway, when you cut the video, keep your camera on him.
I know how to edit video, damn it.
Here we go. So X-Men, the animated series. This week we talked about episode 8. What was it called, TR?
The Cure.
The Cure.
Also
So-
a great band of the 80s.
Let me tell you something, boys.
Yeah.
Don't cry.
That's right.
That's all I had.
Anyway, the cure, right? So this doctor has a cure for the X-Men gene, for the X
For the
gene.
mutant gene.
Yeah, the mutant gene.
Yeah. So it starts off with a recap of GNO Show, which happened a few episodes ago.
Yeah.
Like since then, Juggernaut's happened and he's destroyed the X-Mansion. And they do a recap, making sure you remember who Cable is, because I don't know if you even remember that episode where he showed up, but it's been a while.
Cable.
It's been a while, yeah. I'm interested to know what his backstory is now. I know they talked about it a little bit, that he was a soldier in this blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But his comic book backstory is so much different than that.
Yeah. Very different.
He's the
And-
wild man of Borneo.
Yeah, what
Yeah.
does that have to do with anything?
I don't know. It's a dumb nickname.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it starts off and there's a gal and a dude cuddling up in a ski chalet. Turns out the dude is Warren Worthington III. So if you're in the know, you know that man has himself some wings
Yeah.
because he drinks a lot of Red Bull.
I love it. So he's this very snooty, snotty dude, and I'm not sure why.
Because he's rich as shit.
I know, but
Because
why
he's rich,
isn't
he's got wings.
he with the X-Men right now? Because I mean, he's originally an
He
X-Men.
doesn't
Yeah.
want to live in their
He-
paltry mansion. He lives in a ski chalet.
Well,
I don't think he lives there. I think that's where sometimes he winters when he feels like skiing.
That's I snowbird in the
And-
snow.
I'm Warren Worthington the Third.
Warren Worthington III. I'm pleased, I'm sure.
Creepy.
I like caviar and butt sex.
You know what? You're like
Whoa.
you're like you're like that dude from the Hannibal movie. The
Yeah, I know
Gary
you're talking
Oldman's
about.
character.
Yeah, the guy who looks just like Mitch McConnell.
Yeah. Okay, so
No, for real.
yeah, so
For real, he really
Yeah,
looks,
he does.
especially lately.
yeah,
Like, have you seen those pictures of McConnell's hands? Like,
yeah, they're
it's
gross.
Freaky.
Okay, but
like necrotic
in
and stuff.
in the movie, right? His character was that's kind of what you reminded me of with your trying to stick out your jaw, right?
Was the underbite.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, mumsy.
Oh my god.
The look of comfort on JP's face.
Comfort.
Reminds me of home.
Discomfort. Looks like he's got diarrhea or something.
Diarrhea.
All right.
So, yeah, they're at the ski chalet, and Cable shows up. And he's looking for Adler, who Angel had just mentioned to whatever random floozy he's with is an, Muir Island?
Mirror.
It's like
M-U-I-R.
Yeah, Muir, whatever, Island. Moo Island. And so Cable shows up and kind of kicks the shit out of Angel. There's a quick fight.
Why did he show up there, though? How did he know to go to that room where they were cuddling?
He was following the money.
What money?
Well, they talk about it later where you find out that Warren was funding all of Adler's research.
Oh, okay. I
He-
wasn't
He was the
putting it
one that
together.
made the collars.
Yeah, I'm
So
just
that's
like...
where the Genosha.
Yeah, the reason that Cable's after him is because of the collars from Genosha that could either explode on command or they dampened mutant powers on command. So a quick fight makes Warren expose his wings. The chickie tells Cable where Adler is. Warren shows up again and she shoots him on accident. She says.
she gets shot
She
twice.
says it was an accident, but
We all saw it. We all saw
yeah.
it.
We all see it. We all see it.
Yeah, so
His hair's blue. Blue. He has blue hair. Blue.
Yeah. So she basically she looked up into the French doors, and Warren and her eyes were blinded by the sun coming through the doors, and Warren all of a sudden was in the doorway as a silhouette, I'm sure, and she just
and he
fired.
had the huge wings that she'd never seen on him
and,
before.
and yeah, so I mean it's not that far out
She
of
shot, and then bummer.
And then he flew away.
Yeah, he flies
was
away like
whatever.
all
I said
mopey
it,
about being shot.
This is the second time I've been shot in a 10-second span.
I say it's like those monkeys from Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
He just looked like he was going home.
Oh. So from there, it just cuts right to Professor X and Moira McTaggart, who we've not been introduced to at all. They're just talking about Adler and the fact that he has found a cure for the mutant gene.
Who, Moira? We haven't been introduced to her.
Not yet. Other than just like seeing her like one thing. No, just him talking about her.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've never actually seen her.
Wow.
So they try and Professor X tries to talk to Adler. They're kept away from him. And when Professor X tries to read his mind, first he sees Mystique, then he sees Apocalypse, and then he's like all like a seizure or something. So from there it cuts to the X-Men rebuilding the mansion after Juggernaut's attack. Remember that?
Right.
Remember that stuff?
Wolverine is being a weird show-off dick.
Yeah.
Especially to Gambit. He's like,
He's-
hey, check me out, Cajun. You might learn something. And then he gets this stack of, was it drywall or
They're
was
like, I
it
think they're like
plywood?
4x4s.
Yeah. But he just cuts it without, like, cuts through a bunch of them without measuring. Doesn't even eyeball
Well,
it. He's like,
yeah.
check me out.
Well-
I cut these. They used to be in holes, but now
Well,
they're in halves.
I cut stuff.
He wants to be useful. Everyone else is doing something, and he just isn't fitting in, and he's getting grumpy about it. So, he lashes out at Gambit, who's flirting with Rogue, and,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and like he tries to kind of flirt with Jean. Hey, Jean, you need some help? I always like you working with my hands. She's
And
like,
she's
I like
like-
using my mind, and she puts a bunch of nails into the drywall with her brain power.
with her mind.
Yeah.
So then Gambit, while Wolverine's trying to help Cyclops, No, actually, Wolverine's gonna throw a brick, isn't he?
No, he's putting
brick and mortaring.
Yeah, he's brick and
okay.
mortaring.
But he
spot.
reaches behind him to grab a brick that Gambit has already
Charged
charged up.
with his power.
And Cyclops uses his power to explode the brick so Wolverine doesn't get hurt. And he's such a dad. He's like, okay, Gambit, what's this all about?
Yeah, and
I don't care who started it.
Yeah.
You're both in trouble.
I don't care who started it. I'm finishing it.
Yeah. You have to ride at the back of the Blackbird.
Yeah, and it actually ends up being Rogue who stops it by dropping this giant dome thing that Gambit could have just walked right out of the slats.
It's not really a cage.
Yeah, but she puts it over Gambit like he's the one who started it. I mean, yeah, maybe he went too far with that exploding brick, but Wolverine can heal.
I think he knew that. He was like, this ain't gonna hurt him.
You know what?
I mean,
no, it'll hurt him, but he'll live. Like, yeah, we'll show that dick.
I wouldn't. That's the last person I would choose to blow their hand off is Wolverine.
Yeah.
I like just as a practical joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hilarious. You ain't got no hand now. Give it about 20 minutes. They'll grow back.
So, where were we? Yeah. So, Rogue is the one that ends up finally stopping the fight.
Yeah,
And
because she's the one who drops the dome thing that would go on like a basilica.
Yeah.
But it's being used on their new house.
yeah, on the mansion that they're rebuilding.
Yeah, there's all these columns to it where Gambit could walk right through in between the
it's totally
columns.
wide
But
enough. It's funny.
Yeah. And then after that, the fight stops. Jubilee runs up and, hey, guess who's on the phone?
Professor X, baby.
Well, that's not really a guess. You already knew. So it feels like he's cheating.
PX. P90X.
Yeah. So Xavier's on the phone.
Yeah, it's Xavier. And he's telling him about Adler's cure, basically.
If you guys think about this, how futuristic was that? In 1992, that was like future sci-fi tech
Yeah.
to have someone on a video call,
call, baby.
and that's exactly all we do now.
1992.
No.
Wow. And I was watching it just going, yeah, of course that's how they talk to him. Then I'm going, oh, wait a minute. That was, 30 years ago or not
Yeah.
quite,
No, getting there.
Just
but
right.
just almost.
So it's clear that Rogue wants the cure, but Wolverine's like, anyone who wants the cure is a piece of garbage, bub, and I'm going to fart on him. I'm the best at what I do. And Cyclops is like, well, what if someone wants the cure? Fuck you, Wolverine.
Pretty much.
That pretty much sums up. But Rogue clearly is sick of not being able to touch anybody.
Yeah.
And then it cuts weirdly. It cuts to Jean and Cyclops spooning on the floor of an unfinished room in the mansion.
Yeah.
Like, just suddenly, there they are spooning.
Yeah.
I'm worried about Rogue. Well, yeah, every time she sees us hold hands or, I can tell how upset she is. So quit fucking doing it in front of her. Like, how about that? I can with my mind powers, I can sense how upset she is.
Yeah,
and
but
I
why
kind of
do
like it. It
why
gets
do
me
they
off.
have to change their? I mean, like if I'm holding hands with my wife and a friend of mine who's sad because they're not with someone, I'm sorry you're sad,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to change my habits.
I agree with you. And also, it's just like she has mind powers. Why didn't she just make it seem like they're not holding hands to Rogue?
Yeah.
Even though they are holding hands.
Yeah. Well, because it was written for kids.
Yeah. Well, and they're just trying to solidify the fact, like,
That Rogue is sad.
Well, and that this is what's making her sad is human touch. She can't interact with people.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
In a higher way,
Mm-hmm.
other than just speaking.
So Rogue goes and jumps in her sports car, which I will note, gentlemen, was an automatic, not a stick shift.
Okay.
Very disappointed in Rogue.
All right. What does... I thought she had...
In 1992,
Yeah.
she had an automatic.
Can you believe it?
And they tried to
Crazy.
make it seem like this big fancy sports car.
The nerve.
So Gambit, anyway.
So
chases
Rogue's
down
leaving.
this...
Yeah, Gambit jumps in her car and he sees a book that she's been reading. He's like, hey, but maybe we should go to Paris, huh? So she just picks him up and throws him the fuck out of her car.
Yeah, she grabs him by the front of his shirt, launches him over her head.
And he does the fancy landing thing. Like, she just drives off.
Supergirl landing.
And he does the Supergirl landing. He's like, you chased his own, no?
And
Jumps
he's very
over.
Pepe Le
Pepe Le
Pew.
Yeah.
She's making it
Pepe.
clear she wants to be alone, and he's chasing her. He's trying his best to make her feel okay, that what's going on. They
Yeah.
can he doesn't care that they can't touch. He's willing to be with her, right?
Well, yeah, and he's like, because he jumps over the wall that she has to drive around to leave the X Mansion's grounds. Jumps over and lands right in the passenger seat, and he's like, "Come on, baby, give me a kiss before you go." Like real creepy, like not cool. You know, like
no means no, Gambit.
Yeah, and you can totally hear like the well, she's having a bad day. I just wanted her to feel better. Yeah, that's why you yell at women on the street. You fucking anyway. So finally, she
wait,
just
that's not
leaves.
why guys whistle at women?
No, that's what they say too when they're confronted. Is I just thought she'd like it.
Yeah, okay. Wait, that's not the reason though?
No, that's the reason they're doing it is they're creepy.
Yeah,
Shit.
cat calling.
Yeah. But so Rogue finally like just gets out and flies away. And Gambit realizes, hey, maybe I'm really not going to get laid today.
Not today.
So it cuts to her on the wing of a plane.
Yep.
She's on a jetliner, and the passenger sees her. He gets the stewardess's attention. At that time, Rogue extracts
Jumps off.
herself from the wing, and the attendant looks out the window and
Like
is
laughs at
laughing
him.
and is laughing at the
No
customer.
more drinks for you, Mr. Johnson.
Yeah. And even JP did that. There's someone on the wing. Some thing.
thing.
So she
I think that's actually just a solid reference for sure.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But so she is going to Muir Island, and that's why she hopped on the plane, because it was going to Scotland. Muir Island is right outside Scotland or whatever. So she goes to basically the first bar she can find, where there are these two
mutants.
over
It's
the
like full
top.
it's like full of mutants. It's weird. It's like a mutant bar.
Yeah, and it was really strange because they're like, "There's no crime, nothing to steal here. We're gonna move." You know.
Yeah, but the one guy, Avalanche, he sounds really drunk at first.
Yeah.
Like he really, there's nothing to steal around here. I'm
And, like,
bored as
you ever
shit.
think
I'm gonna
about
start
how-
killing babies.
How weird it is that him and Pyro are having this open of a conversation and they don't know each other. Because Avalanche goes, "Name's Avalanche."
Yeah.
You know. And
Well, they've been working together, but Pyro called him my dear or something like that. And he goes, "The name's Avalanche, not my dear." Something like that.
well, Pyro is here hanging out. He's
With
got,
Avalanche.
Yeah.
And they're waiting for Mystique.
Yeah.
So they see Rogue, and they just assume that she's Mystique because they know Mystique can change forms.
Is your camera supposed to be flashing?
Yeah.
Okay,
That
cool.
means it's recording.
Okay. I just caught my eye.
Yep. So they ask her if she's Mystique, and no, and then they start getting fresh with her, so she beats the shit out of them.
Yep. As Rogue does. She's
Yep.
pretty good at that.
Yeah. Her and Wolverine are very similar that way, where they get pissed off and they just launch into somebody.
It's all right, though. Rogue is a strong, independent woman.
Yeah. And then after one of them gets like knocked through the wall of the bar and into the ocean, like down this cliff and into the ocean, all of a sudden we see Cable on a speedboat or something like that.
Yeah.
No, he just appears.
Yeah,
After a wave.
Yeah,
Like
just
literally,
suddenly there's
it's just-
Cable,
it's
and that's
just
it.
Goosh, and then he's like, "Huzzah!" Like,
Yeah,
Yeah, it was creepy.
and that's it. Like they don't fight. There's nothing. It's just
Huzzah.
there's Cable.
Yep.
So then it cuts to Rogue finding Adler's lab somehow, and she asks to come in, and she gets the same answer that Professor X got. So she breaks the fucking doors down.
Yeah. Boom. Just walks right in.
Yeah.
Anybody home?
So Cable's on the same track that the X-Men are. He's trying. I mean, he in Genosha too.
Yeah, and he's looking for Adler specifically because of the collars.
Yeah, he's trying to. He's showed up because of this technology, right? First it was the
collars that disable powers,
Yep.
and now it's this supposed cure
Yep.
to like completely remove the.
Didn't
mutant
he
gene.
appear though when the Sentinels became a threat?
Adler didn't know.
No, not Adler, but Cable.
Oh, Cable, yeah, yeah, but that was when the Sentinels were a threat in Genosha.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
So let's see. Yeah, so Rogue breaks into Adler's lab looking for a cure, and Pyro happens to be overhearing them.
Mm-hmm.
So he hears that Adler has this cure, and he goes off to make a plan. Adler tells Rogue, "Give it a night. Tell me what you think in the morning." And that's when we find out Adler is actually Mystique. And she's
Mystique.
working with Apocalypse. And
Yeah.
their plan is this machine doesn't cure, it turns mutants into slaves of Apocalypse.
She has blue skin. Blue.
Okay, so this is in the animated series. This is the first time we see Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Right.
And so in the comic canon, he is known as like the oldest mutant, right? He's from ancient Egypt times.
And
he-
Sabat Noor?
Yeah, and he has become since then somewhat of a god. I don't know his whole story.
That's basically it.
Yeah.
And so he's a god mutant, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
he's an Omega level mutant type thing.
Yeah. And so this whole thing, he's behind it. He wants more. They want more mutants for him to do what?
To destroy,
the world.
the world.
Okay.
But they don't reveal that yet.
Yeah. That's later. Sorry.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. Yeah. But yeah, so we just find out that it's Apocalypse's thing. We don't know who Apocalypse is. And it cuts to Rogue like fondly remembering her first kiss that they talk about in the first episode.
They
where
did?
Yeah. Where she kissed a boy and he was in a
Put-
coma
put
for
it-
2
yeah.
days.
Oh, and this was a scene of that.
Yep.
Okay.
And this
Flashback.
is actually a flashback where we get to see it. So Pyro's looking for Avalanche after hearing the stuff about Adler, but he finds Cable instead. Quick fight, Cable
Cable
wins.
finds him.
Yeah. Quick fight, Cable wins. Avalanche finds Pyro after he got his ass kicked, and they're planning on kidnapping Adler to ransom him off because he's got the mutant cures, so he's got to be worth a bunch.
Gotta be worth some pocket change,
Yeah.
mate.
So Rogue shows up to get cured, and Pyro and Avalanche break into the, lab and kidnap Mystique, who is disguised as Adler.
Yeah.
So Cable sees it happened.
She has blue skin.
Yeah, blue skin. Blue. And Moira and Professor X hear the commotion.
They stop having sex. They get on.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. We're. It's obvious they like each other, right? Professor and Moira.
I mean, I'd say in the comics, yeah.
Yeah.
But in the cartoon so far,
They haven't explained at all why he's spent so much time away. With
yeah,
her.
or like who she is. And the interactions they've had is purely informational.
Yeah.
So far.
Transactional.
super strange.
Yeah. So Pyro discovers that instead of kidnapping Adler, they kidnapped Mystique. And Rogue finds the trio right after they discover that, and Mystique changes back into Adler. So it looks like they've kidnapped Adler. And at the same time, Cable shows up. Cut to Professor X and Moira. There's a lot in this episode. Like, there's
There's a lot of
so
cutting.
much going on in this episode.
Lot happened.
Professor X and Moira go to Adler's lab, find he's gone, and at that point, Cyclops and Jean show up to report that Rogue disappeared.
Yeah.
She came to Muir Island.
Yep.
What are you doing here?
Yeah. So then it cuts back to Rogue kicking Pyro and Avalanche's asses, and Cable sneaks off and finds Mystique disguised as Adler, and he's about to kill Adler. Mystique exposes herself, shows, oh no, look, I'm a mutant. And the X-Men show up right, and so she changes in the Blackbird.
Yep.
And she changes back real quick before they see her. So they, blast Cable. So
Of course.
Yeah. Because, he's just got some poor scientist there.
Got some poor geriatric. Let him go.
Yeah. And they, so the X-Men jump out, attack Cable. Cable falls into the ocean. So they think. He actually grabs onto the cliffside.
After the big MacGuffin of the episode, which is basically just a rock.
Yeah.
Because, Rogue just threw a rock at him, and he was like, damn it. And
Yeah.
then Jean threw a rock at him, and he was like, damn it.
All those fucking rocks everywhere.
These damn rocks.
Yeah.
Bane of my existence.
Yeah.
The wild man of Borneo don't do rocks.
So after that, it cuts to Rogue rebuilding the machine that Pyro and Avalanche destroyed. But she's decided that she does not want the cure.
She wants to keep her powers.
Right. So Rogue, on her way out, bumps into Warren, who has the wings.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he's like, you can fly without wings? How the hell do you do that? I don't know. I just do.
I
Yeah.
just do, baby.
That was a great opportunity for them to explain how she can do it. And
I don't even think she knows.
No.
she is kind of dumb. Like
Just
she,
part of her powers, man.
she just seems like she's just never had a brain at
Yeah.
all. She throws this very ditzy vibe off. I mean, a lot like Kitty Pryde, just headstrong and doesn't think.
Well, and I think that's all part of the character. She's just overpowered, so she doesn't really have to explain herself or do anything by anybody's rules because she's overpowered.
Yeah,
She
what
has
do
a
you-
lot of powers.
What are you going to do? Strangle her and then slowly have all your life? You know, like, I'm strangling myself to death by strangling you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then after that.
After that,
Miss-
Warren lands and talks to who he thinks is Adler.
Yes.
That's when we find out that he's been giving so much funding to Adler. And
Because he wants to get rid of his wings,
Right. And
which
Mystique.
seems dumb. Like,
Well, okay, so
Well, yeah, but imagine,
he was in a
like, let's say that you have a weird birthmark near your daddy bits.
he has money. It doesn't matter what other
I'm
defects
just
this
saying,
guy has.
it's still going to be weird to be like, so I have a birthmark that looks exactly like an elephant. It's not a tattoo.
Dude can fly with angel wings.
Well, yeah, but imagine like, okay, so I'm a big fan of Kentucky Fried Chicken. How about you? Like, how do you do the icebreaker for that? Like, how do you approach that subject? By the way,
just
like-
have the wings out all the
I
time.
like this.
Just always have
Go
them out.
beep bop beep beep. Here's
Okay.
my bank account.
So here's my thing.
Oh, by the way, I have wings. Who cares?
Okay, so originally Angel was an original X-Men. Then with Giant Size X-Men, they didn't bring him back.
Right.
And then they introduced him later in the comics back in. Was he against the X-Men at some point in the comics for them to want to do this with the show?
Yes. He was one of Apocalypse's slaves for a while. That's when he became
Okay.
Archangel.
One of the horsemen.
Got
Yeah,
it. Okay.
That's how he
I
became
think that's
Archangel.
So this
I think
is
that's
leading
what they're
up to that.
setting-
This
they're
is
setting
leading
up
up to
Age
that.
of Apocalypse,
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is, I noticed, coming up in the show.
which should be really awesome.
Yeah, I think overall
Days of
this
Future Past to
episode-
be good too.
Yeah. I think overall this episode was one of the first ones that really kept me wanting to keep watching. I wanted to see more what was going on with Apocalypse. It had more of a comic book feel to me. I mean, yeah, there's all the goofy stuff of the style of animation because it was 92 and
I
that's
can get
how
past the
shows
animation,
were.
but the dialogue is really
There's some choppy,
cheesy, right? Over
There's
the
some
top.
And
choppy,
I thought,
awkward stuff.
for me, I thought this was a low point in terms of action. Because, like I said, they literally foil like 4 or 5 fights with a rock.
with a rock.
It's a fucking rock every time, like
choreography.
boulder, rock,
Yeah,
pebbles.
Yeah,
Like,
I agree. It was
Rocks.
dumb.
so, I mean, if we're gonna get to scores, I mean, I'd have to go 6. It's low, I know.
How about you, Tyler?
Probably a 6 because the
'Cause it's
dialogue
still
doesn't
X-Men,
90 it doesn't. If it was 92 and if it was for kids, whatever. But the dialogue doesn't have to be so dumb.
You get a point. This episode gets 2 points for one, Mystique, because Mystique is just a great character.
Yep, and
two,
Apocalypse.
Apocalypse. So I would have scored it at 4, but
This
those
is where
two
those two
characters,
characters being introduced
2
is
points
huge.
for me. So
Yeah.
it's a 6 up from a 4.
I think that this, like, compared to the one where the I forget what they're called, the sewer mutants.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. The
the-
under people.
Yeah,
blah, blah, blah.
it'll come to me. I know who you're talking about. Yeah,
But I think this was a better episode than that was.
that was
I
pretty.
like that one
Did you?
better. Like comparing the two.
I don't know.
It's just more unique action in that one.
I am sick of Gene and Scott. Think about this, where they just walk around thinking about how good they are and how they affect other people. Right? They were talking about Wolverine, and how he's a problem for Scott. Right? Scott
Yeah.
was deciding whether he still wanted to be an X-Men. And they were walking right, and now this one they're like feeling bad because they're making Gene feel bad.
Rogue.
Yeah, that's what I said. Gene making Rogue feel bad, and I'm just kind of like,
It's
get over yourselves.
it's definitely tough to hear their dialogue from that high horse they're sitting on.
Oh, yeah. It's like, get over yourselves. Like, Cyclops always has the dad voice on when commanding the team.
Yeah.
And I didn't read it that way in the comic book, so I think it's funny that that's the way that he did it.
Yeah. And with Jean, she definitely doesn't have the mom role. She has she really needs to be comforted. Like, they're their sweetheart.
She
No,
like
she's-
was on a different planet. I mean,
she's like the prom queen role. Like
The
she's
Jean-
just like the popular kid that no one can talk to and no one
yeah,
can relate with.
in
'cause
the
she's
Jean in the
she's
comic
too
book,
perfect.
and she seems too dumb to talk. You know what I mean? She's almost just like all she has going for her is her telepathy, and other than that, like she's
Yeah.
nothing
Yeah.
because she doesn't have great
They
conversations.
haven't had development of her so far of the show. I'm sure we'll get there with like.
They know they
Phoenix-
do the Phoenix saga. Yeah.
So that'll be huge for that character, and that'll probably be a huge turning point for
Mm-hmm.
her in the show.
Which they did mention something that is in part of the Phoenix saga. Moira, I was wondering if they were hinting at this because one of the big fights when she was Phoenix was against Moira's son, who had these reality-altering powers that
Okay.
she kept him locked up in a cell, basically.
Is that Xavier and Moira's son?
No.
No, this character is basically he's too powerful. I mean, he could just change. It's like Franklin Richards. He could just change reality
Yeah.
at his fingertips, and that's
And the longer that he is allowed to do that, the stronger he becomes. So, like, he starts fucking with whole cities and stuff.
How do you lock up a person like that?
There was a reflective thing that, like, it kept his powers basically in check in that room. Like, I can't remember, but it was basically this cell. So, because using his powers, he wastes through bodies. So he has to, like, take over other people's bodies and stuff.
This character sounds awful.
Yeah, he was terrible. He was terrible.
He's a terrible sounding dude.
Yeah.
This is
and
a
I'm
horrible
wondering,
person.
Well,
Was he
'cause-
called Leech?
I can't remember what he was called.
all right. I'll look it up. You guys keep talking.
No, I'm going to look it up.
No, I'm gonna look it up. So,
I'm just gonna
son
look
of
at
a
my
bitch.
phone so I don't feel left
Moira
out.
McTaggart's son.
According to Wikipedia, in the Ultimate Marvel continuity, Moira McTaggart
Proteus.
is the ex-wife of
Oh,
Charles
sure.
Xavier, and their
Proteus.
son David McTaggart is Proteus.
See, their son.
In
It's,
an alternate- okay.
it's their son. That makes more sense because Xavier has mind powers, so his baby would have crazy mind powers.
Yeah. And Moira, we don't know yet, but Moira is also a mutant.
Yes.
Yeah, we don't.
We
Is
don't
she
know
in the
that
comic book?
until the powers of X.
I know.
Yeah.
and
that's current.
that's
yeah,
that's
right. now.
that's brand new as of last year.
I don't think she was ever
so.
a mutant prior to that.
No, that's brand new material that
and
Hickman came up
I
with.
will say I loved the way that they did it where the reason she wouldn't know she was a mutant. The way her power works is when she dies, she comes back to life and relives her life.
Yeah.
So you
When do
wouldn't
you-
know that until you die.
Yeah, when
Exactly.
do you start real? I mean, did she have her old memories? I can't remember.
Yeah.
After
She knew
the
she
first
would
time
li-
she died.
You know,
She knew she had been born again.
Yeah.
yeah, like things were familiar and she remembered certain things.
Did
I think
she
she
go
didn't get
through,
the
like-
hang of it until like life number 3 or something
Yeah.
like that.
And did she live through her whole birth and everything again?
Yeah. Went through everything all over again.
Okay. So time reset for everyone. I don't remember exactly how it worked.
In Hickman's, it's basically the world according to Moira.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
So,
it's
like,
her
okay,
life and
the-
her choices are
The
affecting
day that
everything.
she was born the very first time,
Yeah.
so then she dies,
Yeah.
go right back to everything exactly as it was except her.
Yeah, she
The
kept her
only
memories.
thing is that's different on that day now, the second time, is she has her memories. And then after she dies again, cut back to that same day, and the only thing that's different is now she has
It's like Groundhog
two
Day.
lifetimes of
Yeah. How did they
memories.
get that to stop though? So that I mean, we have lots of future events that they showed in
Because she hasn't-
House
because
of
she
X
hasn't
and
died.
Powers
Because
of
she
X.
hasn't died yet
What do you mean?
in the current.
In the current run, she
run of
hasn't
X-Men.
died yet.
I know, but we saw
That's-
lots of future stuff. Like
Those
remember,
are already lives she's already lived.
Yeah.
She's already seen those. Those are lives she's lived
she's
Yeah.
lived that long
Yeah.
into those futures because there can't
because of the choices that she's made.
Yeah,
She's-
every
'cause-
time that she lives.
like there were thousands of years though. I'm saying.
But she had gotten with Professor X and tried things one way. She got with Professor X, tried things another way. She went with Apocalypse one time, I think,
Yep.
in it, and tried things one way. So
she
Yeah, but
kept
when she
trying-
dies though, it stops, right?
yeah,
Yeah, it
so how
starts
can you
over.
have
and it
a
resets
how can you have an event 1,000 years in the future?
because of if she got with Apocalypse can make her give her some sort of immortality powers,
you're
or
right.
you know what I mean?
Clone.
Yeah,
maybe.
yeah,
No.
something. But
Okay.
it's those lives just lived out in different. Yeah. So every time she dies, just hit the reset button.
Yeah.
So it could be 5,000 years or 5,000 seconds. It doesn't
I mean,
matter.
this was a great. I mean, that was a great.
kind of sucks because she loses all her power-ups.
And then
She
I mean,
should have saved her game.
It is a cool way, though, of fixing all of the time discrepancies throughout all of the X-Men comic books. I mean, because that was the big thing, is how convoluted everything got. I mean, that's why they shelved it. And then, okay, we're going to let Hickman redo it.
But my problem is now Marvel is becoming too X-Men centric. Like, if you're reading X-Men, you gotta fucking read X-Men.
But I think that's the choice they've given people, and I think that's what they need to do with the X-Men. Is the X-Men have now are so big and so spanning across so many different titles that you can exclusively just read X-Men, and some people just do.
But the X of Swords being 22 thing, you have to read all of the issues for 22 issues. You know what I mean?
You have to make that choice. I mean, you can't, like, there's no real way to dabble in the X-Men.
Which
like,
sucks.
I tried to start doing it like that way. I was like, I'll read these and I won't read that one. I'll read this one. I won't read
Me
this
too.
one. And then I was just like, I give up because I feel like I'm outside of this world when I should be in it, but I don't have the money or the time to spend just on X-Men. Because I like too many other things. I don't want to buy 6 X-Men books a week and just that's it.
When COVID,
Yeah, not when Cherry's out.
when
Now
COVID,
Firepower is coming out, best comic book nobody's reading right now. Come on.
that's crazy that it's not more popular.
I think it is actually, but I don't see the popularity locally at Rainbow. I don't see it.
I mean, I missed the boat when it dropped. I don't know how, but
I love Firepower
because it was like second issue, and you're like, "Oh, I'm reading Firepower." I'm like, "What is that?" I mean, I didn't even know.
I love it. Well, I think originally it was under ordered on accident, so it didn't have a lot of copies for the wall.
So, as far as what you were saying about the X-Men, the point was for Hickman to relaunch it and get it all straightened out. But then now, like you said, there's so many titles.
It got
And now
too complicated.
Now they're
too quick.
forcing you to have to read them all. It's right back to where it was. I'm in the midst of it, so I'm digging it all. But for an outside person or somebody that wasn't collecting all the issues, it would suck.
And as I understand it, you can't get into X of Swords cold. You can't just pick up
you
X
have
of
to-
Swords.
No, you need.
There's no entry level book. And
There's
the entry
no
level
entry
book
level
is Powers
anyway.
of X and
House of X.
and
And
House
now,
of X.
and
And
the
that's just the beginning.
Yeah.
You just
Okay.
There's your entry level is the front.
and okay,
There's no jump on point. That's
I
gonna
was
be like-
only able
Yeah,
to
there's
do
no
what I'm doing
convenience.
because of COVID. When they hit, so many titles weren't coming because of Diamond slowing down or not running at all for about 2 months.
I think it's-
anyway. So then I could catch up week to week. I caught up on all those, and maintaining that has required some sacrifices of other books.
But I think you and other X-Men fans are glad to do it because X-Men is now getting the attention it needed and still needs. And I think
and
I'm
here's-
jealous of X-Men fans because like I would love to
I
be
will
in
tell
that
you-
world and read it, but I was like I don't have the time, man.
I love everything that's going on. I have been really impressed overall that everything's still working together. Nothing is
And that's
nothing
the
is
consensus. So it's the right thing to do for them.
nothing is
Out of place.
out of place from what another book says. I mean, it seems like it's all well managed. They had a great,
That's
that's
because
thought
it
board for
comes
this
from the
thing.
top. It comes from Hickman, and he tells everybody what to do. And he basically just goes. He's the Kevin Feige of X-Men right now. He's like, hey, your book you can do this and this, but these story notes have to happen. I don't care what you do
Before
in your
or
6.
after
I
this.
don't care what you do in your 6-issue run, but your characters have to start here and end here, and then go ahead and do whatever you want for 6 issues. But you just make sure that these two things happen to make sure it's connected to the rest.
Yeah.
And Kevin Feige did the same thing with Marvel films.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like, you want to make a movie? That's cool. You can make a movie, but these two things have to happen in your movie so that we end at this.
Well, and then for Age of Ultron, there was too much that had to happen.
Like Age of Ultron, the movie?
Yeah.
I've watched Age of Ultron.
I don't think it was as bad as my at first blush I did, but there's so much that they had to cram in there.
There is, but I think Age of Ultron is actually a much superior movie to the original Avengers movie.
Yeah, in some ways. I thought the plot drug on though.
A little bit. It is a little long and long-winded, and but I think tonally and the way that the characters look and the way that the changes that they made for the costumes paved the way for the rest of the cinematic universe. Because in the first Avengers movie looks like a fucking cartoon.
Yeah.
Compared to Ultron, everything's bright. Captain America's suit is horrible. It's bad.
I've never watched it from that point of view.
Iron Man's suit is bad, like close to bad. It's bulky.
In Captain America, I
And-
mean, because he wasn't bad in the
Avengers.
early Iron.
No, in
In
the
the
Avengers,
Avengers, I mean-
movie, Iron Man's suit is bulky.
Because it
and
wasn't so
still-
bad in Iron Man. I mean, that was previous to that.
They changed his suit for Avengers, and he had a much larger chest piece.
That's right, he did. Yep.
And it was just
This triangle deal.
yeah. It like when you compare it to like the costumes of Age of Ultron, it just looks bad. Like
You're right.
Thor looks bad. Like all the costumes are wretched in that.
Thor,
I'm sorry.
his acting as Thor, I thought was bad. I
Well,
thought
that's before they still were figuring out that character too, and luckily Ragnarok reinvented that character completely. But yeah, he's not great, and everybody beats him. Like he's really weak in that movie. Like everybody beats him. He's weak.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, so Ultron, I thought like Vision is kind of a boring character to me. I've never really gotten into him, and so first of all, that actor, his voice is so lulling, right?
Oh, I love Paul Bettany.
Just
Yeah.
it'll put you to sleep, and so when he,
I love him in A Knight's Tale. That's
Yeah.
my favorite.
yeah, he was good in that.
Ulrich von Liechtenstein.
Yeah, he's great.
So,
Jeffrey Chulsa.
but in this, right, the way he's always talking to Wanda, right, and he's just got this soft
Yeah.
voice, and
I think he's the perfect person to play it because he can play it so alien. Like he can play it so
yeah, he
like,
is an alien. I mean, he's weird.
I don't know about this world. And
Yeah,
so
well, he's
dead,
Like
dead
when
man.
He's technology.
When he
I mean,
goes
he's
through
literally-
Wanda's wall because the door was open.
Yeah.
And she's like, "We talked about this." He's like, the door was." Oh man, I thought I had this shit.
So what's
I think-
the plot for WandaVision? What is
House
that?
of M is going to play a factor. It looks like
That's what they're saying. Yeah, I couldn't tell you. I've seen the trailers, and there's a lot of House of M.
no more
hints.
mutants.
A lot of House of M hints. So I don't know.
Which I would love to see
We'll review it when it
Avengers
comes out,
versus
though.
X-Men
That'd
I
be
don't-
cool. But the X-Men got to make their debut into this MCU.
into the MCU. Yeah,
I don't think we need any more. We've already had Civil War.
yeah, that's
You know what I
true.
mean? We don't need
Another battle of like-minded
guys.
We
individuals.
But-
don't need another like heroes versus heroes because Iron Man's dead. Chris Evans is out. Black Widow, she's dead.
I don't like the idea of them continuing on with like later versions of the Avengers though.
Like Sam Wilson's gonna be Cap now.
I know.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier's gonna be Winter Soldier.
These are all B level characters now playing
Well,
the big
yeah,
roles.
but a lot
just
of
give them
these
a chance,
characters.
though.
I mean, before the MCU started, nobody knew Black Widow unless you were a hardcore comics fan.
or Hawkeye. I'm gonna give
Yeah,
a
who gives
shit
a-
about?
yeah, no one
Hawkeye.
You're
care
right.
about
I'm just like as
Give it time.
as us fans. I'm like I don't give a shit about Sam Wilson at all.
Yeah. Marvel made a talking tree and a talking raccoon cool. So
Yeah.
give it time because
and they made him work with a bigot.
on paper, Groot is the dumbest character ever.
Yeah.
He's a talking tree that's
And
only
he got
says, "I am
people
Groot."
crying in that first Guardians
Yeah.
of the Galaxy.
Yeah. I
Guardians
say-
of the Galaxy, I miss my mommy. And don't forget to check out Guardians of the Galaxy 2, daddy issues.
I still miss my mommy.
But
Well, that one I call daddy issues. 'cause
Yeah.
I
I
say-
think number 3, it's going to be called Weird Feelings for My Cousin.
I say give it time. They'll elevate those characters
Okay.
to the positions that they're.
So
being
WandaVision
allocated.
though, it's when you say House of M, I don't know much about the House of M.
House of M was a X-Men event that
Yep.
was.
Wanda
it was
crazy.
world changing.
Yeah.
In terms of the X-Men, it changed everything.
Because
for
she's
them.
Magneto's daughter, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And are they? So do we know? I mean, New Mutants is not part of the MCU, correct?
No.
That crappy movie that just came out. That was just a ploy by Fox to keep the license, probably.
Yeah, and they were trying to make it like a first foray into connecting it to the X-Men, like Days of Future Past stuff. Like
Yep.
you know that
I never
cinematic
saw
universe,
it, so
I didn't either. So, but
I heard
the movie
some
was chopped and
problematic
screwed.
stuff.
The movie was chopped and screwed, 6 times to Sunday, and then they couldn't. It originally wasn't accepted as the first horror film of like superheroes, and then backed it up. It was supposed to be like R-rated, and they backed it up, and then they reshot it, and then they reshot it again, and then they went to PG-13, and then they couldn't figure out what the fuck they wanted to do, and then they just were like, screw it, just release it.
Yeah, I can't.
And it did poorly.
I really want to see the X-Men in the MCU.
And I just think
that way we can take a little journey away from the Avengers.
Yeah. Well, and I think you'll just see the Avengers be players in the X-Men world once the X-Men world gets established.
Exactly. Or vice versa. I mean,
I don't want to see the X-Men fight the Avengers. We've already seen that.
and I'm like,
See,
and
the
I don't want to
reason-
see more Avengers.
The way I was envisioning it was that's how we're introduced.
I don't think you need
I'm
to.
gonna sneeze.
You're fine. I don't think you need to. I think Disney Plus takes the rest of the Avengers, what they're doing, and does their thing. Because I don't really think we're going to get a whole lot more of Avengers movies. They're done with it.
Okay.
It's over.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
I had thought they were going to do another one, but as a cast of different characters.
I don't think they have that plan at all. I really don't. I think X-Men.
I thought I read that.
X-Men and Fantastic Four, I think, are the future of Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I hope so.
Once you introduce both of those, you can introduce Doctor Doom. There's your next big bad.
Oh,
and then you can work.
You
in
could have a
some of the-
Doctor Doom movie, and it would be awesome.
You can work in some of the Avengers, but the X-Men and the Fantastic Four are really going to be the next big thing for Marvel Cinematic. Disney Plus is going to take care of all the stuff you're worried about.
Can you?
They've got Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Can you imagine another flop of Fantastic Four though? There's literally been like 5
They won't.
movies.
They won't.
How?
There's no way Marvel could screw it up.
Why can't anyone make a decent Fantastic Four movie?
Because they weren't interested in making a decent Fantastic
No.
Four movie. They were interested in just holding the right.
Holding the rights.
It was just Fox,
They're
just
all
holding it.
they're all bad.
Yeah.
I mean,
The first 2 are watchable.
Yeah.
I mean, they're campy and fun, but at
they're
the end
too
of
campy. I mean, Chris Evans is good, but
at the end of the day, they're not good.
no.
I
mean,
think there were a lot of people who watched it because of Jessica Alba.
Guilty.
yeah.
I
And
mean,
we are at 46 minutes.
Okay.
guilty. Well, we can wrap it up too. We were digressing way far off of what we originally incepted the show to be, which is the X-Men episode of animated series.
No,
but
we're
we
still
talked
talking about X-Men. I want to, I loved the idea of them coming into the MCU and being able to do all these big things because can you imagine the Dark Phoenix saga as a MCU movie done with that?
Yeah, you
with
do it,
their
you
touch,
do it in
right?
fucking three parts, 3 movies.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But you build towards it. You know,
Yep,
like
you
they
do the
did-
Phoenix saga. You
like
do
they-
the Dark Phoenix saga.
Well, like they did with Iron Man to start. That's Iron Man was your foundation, and then boom, you built on it with Thor, and then boom, you built on it with Cap, and then boom, you built on top, and they built this house brick by brick, and then finally, they put the icing on the cake, which was the Avengers, and then they ate it with all the other Avengers movies. You know
How would they introduce the X-Men though? Like in what do you think would be a good way?
the Infinity Stone, the Infinity Stones.
How so?
When the Infinity Stones were shattered or they broke reality, that's when you could that's the birth of the X gene.
Yeah.
That's when they started to see it in people. When they brought everybody back, something
After
happened.
the snap?
Yeah. When they brought everybody back, something happened with the stones that caused a mutation in somebody, and then boom, there you go, mutants.
You think they're going to start with Charles Xavier?
It doesn't really matter how they start. I mean, that's what they could do to explain it away. Is like, oh, it's just a after effect of the gauntlet.
Huh.
Why not?
Or it's always been there and we just haven't really talked about it.
Well, why
Because-
not? That's a great way to explain it for their universe. It's a great way that ties it in with the current state.
Mm-hmm.
And people would eat it up. They go, oh yeah, that makes sense. The gauntlet.
No.
You know,
Yeah.
you ain't even really got to think about it.
They're not going to think about it past that. They're going
No.
to oh, okay.
Infinity Stones.
Yep.
It's kind of like when in the comics, like something sciencey happens. Like, what is it? It's pin particles.
Yep.
Okay.
Or like in
Yeah, 'cause-
the Ant-Man and the Wasp. Well, we can't explain this away. Use the word quantum.
Yeah. Quantum,
Uh-huh.
quantum realm.
Yep, quantum realm.
Pin particles.
I was just about to bring that up. Like I had racked my brain for a long time trying to figure out how going into the quantum realm would allow them to time travel from there. And I'm like, they just say it and then everyone just goes, okay.
Yeah.
And I'm like trying to figure it out. Going,
Don't need to. You're just like, all right.
Yeah, it just happens.
Yeah.
It's a space-time thing.
Yeah.
Wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey.
Indeed.
So Smash and Grab Comics tonight is brought to you by Rainbow Comics Cards and Collectibles. And yeah, You guys
And
have anything
you.
else?
And viewers
And
And by
like
viewers
you.
like you. Ready? I'm going to get a good one. And viewers like you.
I'm gonna cut that out.
And viewers like you.
Hi there.
Anyway, for Smash and Grab Comics, I'm
That's
JP.
I'm Tyler.
I'm the other one.
Bye.
Later.